Hey everyone, this is Manal Khalif. I'm a stress and emotions coach at manalkhalif.com. I just wanted to shoot a short video for you today. I learned a bunch of lessons today and I just want to share those with you. Had a very productive day. I've been up early and just out and about, and I just got in. Part of that included attending an NA meeting, which stands for Narcotics Anonymous, and it's for a group for recovering addicts and even active, people who are still using. And part of my training as a substance abuse counselor is to attend these meetings and get some experience, learn more about it, so that I can make better recommendations for my clients. So that when I tell them, try attending an NA meeting, I know what it's like. And so I went in just like most people, with preconceived notions of what it was going to be like. And I walk in, and for some reason I thought that it was going to be, sitting around in a circle. I thought there would be like, more or less an equal number of men and women. I walk in and all I see is these 20 big, huge guys turn around and look to see, and they see me. So I walk in and I had a seat and I just, sat quietly and just really took it in. And something that I really enjoyed it. And one of the things was that there was this willingness to share. And I'm very grateful that the meeting that I attended, one of the guys there has been clean for 8 years. And so today was supposed to be a celebration of him and his accomplishments and everything. And it was amazing to see these men, they're in their late 40s, 50s, some of them in their 60s, getting up there and just showing all of this emotion and just gratitude. And honestly, this group of men was just so evolved and so aware and, taking responsibility for themselves and for their actions. And it was just amazing to see. So at one point, the meeting split up, and there's two different tables, and one of the tables was called the first step table. And me being a newcomer, I didn't really know what to expect. So I went up to one of the guys, and I said, I thought the meeting was over. And he said, "Oh, you're free to join us." And so I sat there, and there were 4 other guys in the group. And what we did was we read the first chapter from the handbook for the NA group, and it was the step 1 chapter, and it was all about changing your thought patterns and changing the way you think, and how that's the only way that you're going to change your life. And it was talking about how the addiction is brought them to a point where they couldn't function anymore. Their lives were in shambles. And so each of us took a turn reading, and I also volunteered to read because I really wanted to get into it. And after we finished reading the chapter, then it was open for us to share whatever it is that we wanted to share. And so the man next to me began sharing. He's been clean for some time now, and he was just, he was so passionate, and he was just talking about how he's so grateful for his addiction because he was saying that it led him to have this life that he has now. And he's like, he's like, if I didn't have this addiction, he's like, my life would have probably been average and just ordinary and mediocre. And he's like, my life is none of those. He's like, my life is extraordinary. And he's like, and because of this addiction, he set out to do all of these things and to reach all of these goals, and he has an amazing job and a family. And it just got me thinking that, there's so many of us regular people, people who don't have an active addiction. And what are we doing for our lives? What are we doing to create an extraordinary life? Like, we're living that mediocre life that he didn't want. He was saying that if it wasn't for this addiction, he probably would have just had this life where he's sitting in front of the TV and, just eating and, not really doing anything, not being an active member of society. Whereas now he's like, God uses me to help other people. He's like, I bump into people all the time who are in recovery. And he's like, and now I'm able to extend that hand to them. And just honestly, this group was they were just so amazing. They were so helpful. They were so compassionate. And it just made me realize how much we judge, myself included. You see a homeless person, or you see someone who is high or drunk or whatever, and we think to ourselves, well, I don't want to give them any money, or I don't want to help them, or I don't want to support them because, they got themselves into this mess and all of that. But how many of us are addicted? We might not be addicted to illegal substances, we might not be addicted to alcohol, but we're addicted to negative thoughts, we're addicted to shopping, we're addicted to food. We all have something that we turn to in order to escape the pain. And for them, it just happens to be that, they found this substance that took that away from them momentarily. Of course, it created, its own set of problems, but it just was a reminder to me, and just I wanted to give a reminder to everyone to, hold back our judgments, or when the judgment comes up, let it go, because just look at yourself. So when you have that judgment about someone else, think to yourself, how am I that way? You know, I think the world will be a much kinder place if we can do that. And so when the meeting was over, one of the guys wanted to continue talking to me. So he was telling me about his life and about his job and about his first time coming into the Salvation Army, where the meeting was held. And he was saying that he was a member of the church, and he actually asked me if I knew some people from the mosque that actually were people that we mutually knew. And he was mentioning how his pastor came to one of the meetings before, and his pastor had mentioned that just their willingness to let go, their willingness to, leave the past behind, their willingness to take responsibility for their actions and for their mistakes, their willingness to start over, to start fresh, to make amends, to forgive, to ask for forgiveness. What the pastor said was, this is what church should be like. And so when this guy said this to me, I said, this is what religion should be like. And it was amazing that people of two different faiths, we have those things in common, and most of the majority of the faiths around the world do have that in common. And so another thing that I want to share is, at the end of the meeting, the guys all got up, and it looked like they were going to have this group hug kind of thing, and I said, sorry guys, I don't do hugs. And what they were doing was they were creating a circle. And so I said, but I'll stand in this, I'll stand in the circle with you. And so the two guys on either side of me just kind of put their hands up, without touching me, just out of respect. And so we completed the circle, and each of them I saw put their right foot in, and so I did the same. And I guess this is how they end every meeting. And what they did was they created this circle of support and trust. And the right foot was representing, us moving forward and taking steps towards our future. And our left foot, being back, was representing leaving the past behind and leaving all of our past mistakes and, our past negative thinking behind. And as we were huddled, one of the guy who was leading said, who brought us here? And they all said, God. And then they said the Serenity Prayer all together. And then what they did was they said, is there anyone's name that you want to put into this circle? And so I have a very dear friend of mine who is in recovery now, who has been addicted for some time now. And so I said her name and I brought it into the circle, and all of the guys, mentioned someone's name and brought that into the circle. And it was just so beautiful. It was so emotional and so powerful. And that's how we ended the meeting. And they all thanked me for being there. And I'm thinking, thank you. I mean, they were so welcoming, and they were so kind, and they were so, willing to share and willing to just, take me as I am, which is one of their mottos as well, is come as you are. Whether you're an active user or whether you're in recovery, everyone is welcome. And honestly, the tenets that I learned today and the steps that I learned today, there really are something that all of society can benefit from. You don't have to be, addicted to any particular substance, whether illegal or illicit or whatever it is, for you to learn these tenets. And I just want to share this message with you, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something from it, and I look forward to sharing more videos with you. Thanks a lot. Bye.